trying to not take pills. Okay. And so this is why I get to where I get today with edibles and medicinal plants. But anyway, let's talk about foraging for a second. Some of us are fortunate to have a place where we can forage, but 98% of Texas is actually privately owned. Okay. The other 2% in Texas is park or wildlife management area, whether it's federal park or, state park or city park or whatever. You are not supposed to go in there and pick things. Okay. Not unless you have a permit, and you're going to have to go to the governing body to get the permit to pick, whether it's mushrooms or whatever. So let's not do that. I didn't know that because prior to all of this, I didn't know this, and I would go hiking along the trail and I would be picking stuff and eat. Now I don't do that anymore because of two things: because of the permit, and then two, because of there's all kinds of dogs walking along the trail, right? So you don't want to do that. So anyway, you could be very lucky and get permission from some landowners to friends to come to their place and forage. But you need to know your plant, okay? And what I'm showing you, these plants I'm showing you, is actually you should very well know them. There are plants that I will not, show you guys on these things because you could mistake them for something else, and the other something else is not good for you. This year, for example, the persimmon is a weird year because of the weather at the beginning of the year and the drought. And so some trees are really ripe and already dropped, and some trees still have green, persimmon on them. And so I did not forage any this year. I'm leaving it for the wildlife because they're really hurting this year. So that's why I'm saying wildlife, because kind of keep that in mind when you're foraging. Don't take everything. We have food, they don't. Okay. And then be kind. What I meant by that is I have seen people do this, and that's because there's like a group of people and they would be picking and they would strip a plant practically. Don't do that. Plants don't like that. Okay. And so when you forage, you kind of go from one plant, pick a few, and go to the next plant, pick a few, and just don't strip the plant. Okay. And then safe harvesting, watch your surrounding, please, because I will tell you a true story. I squat down one day and to look at a plant, and I stand up, and this Western diamondback, not even 3 feet, slither from me. So you kind of please watch where you're stepping. Not only there's snake, but also fire ants and things like that. So safe harvesting. Okay. But anyway, these are 4 common ones. Persimmon, you guys already talked about, is in the ebony family, right? This is the Texas persimmon. In Texas, there is the Texas persimmon, which turn black, and then there's the other persimmon, which is more like east of I-35, which is the Dorval persimmon, which is kind of orange, but it's small as well. Okay. This is your wine cup. What can you eat in a wine cup? The root. It actually tastes just like sweet potato. Okay. I don't really forage wine cup because they're very delicate. When you dig up that root, that plant's going to die. So I like wine cup. So I just tend to leave it alone. I tried it once, so I just want to know what it tastes like, and it tastes like sweet potato. This plant right here, this is the state of Texas plant, the prickly pear. Right now, you should be picking the tuna. Except for, again, this is a weird year. I have some tuna, and then a lot of the plants do not have any tuna. So I don't pick them this year either. And to pick the tuna on these, the tuna is a fruit, right? So everybody know that? Because the last group I talked to, they didn't know what some of them didn't know what a tuna was. So it's a fruit. It makes great margarita. It also makes really good jelly. You pick it using a tong, and then I use a fillet knife, and I cut and fillet out the outside. You know, there's other methods, like you can put it over the fire and burn the glocknits, which is the little, out. But then you kind of have to strain, the juice, and I'm lazy, so I did it the other way. I just strip it using a fillet knife. Okay, so it's according to how you want to do it. Just be careful, because there are glocknits on the outside when you do the burn or you do the mash, because that will also stick in your burrow. Okay. And when I do harvest the pad in the spring is when the new pad come out, and their leaves, which is the spike, is actually very soft. It's not. So that's the best time to pick them, is in the spring. And then you can blanch. You can just eat the whole thing. You can blanch them and then put them in the freezer. Okay. And this is Turk's cap. And a lot of you guys already know Turk's cap is in the mallow family, which is the same family as okra. Okay. So because it's in the same family with okra, the leaves, you can eat the leaves, and the flour, if you actually cook it, it does have that gelatinous type like okra. Okay, if you like that, it's okay. If you don't, blanch it, and then you can cook it normally. I pickled the leaf to save it, and I do the mates with it. I wrap it, just like the mate, like grape leaf. The flour, if you're going to pick flour to eat, put it in your salad, pick it in the afternoon, because that's when the nectar is the best. Is in the afternoon, for the flour. And then the fruit, I think she has some sample right there. It just tastes like cucumber, just a little sweetened cucumber. It's crunchy. So that plant, actually, almost every part is edible. Okay. And it's beautiful, grow in the shade. They used to have a really big area in front of the River Nature Center. And this year, it just doesn't look so good. This year, the drought is so bad. I just feel sorry for our plant. But anyway, so these are the more common one. I wasn't supposed to talk about them. It's just for juicy here, but I end up talking about them. So anyway, but my number one plant, Agrita. Some of you are like, what? But so the Agrita is actually one of the plants that I would plant everywhere. When I talk to people about what plant to plant, this is the one that I tell them to. It flowers, the very first thing to flower in the spring, well, in the winter, because it flowers roughly in February. So that's the very first thing that the pollinator get, right? And then in April is when the berry gets set, and that again, first fruit for the animal. But for us, what is there for us? Well, you can take the berry and they'll pick one by one. I usually come to it and I put a basket or something under it and I just whap it, the bush, and then the berry would fall. Okay. Instead of picking one by one, that would hurt because, those things are. So the berry I make jelly with. I also make pancake syrup. They make really good pancake syrup. Okay. I'd rather eat that as pancake syrup than jelly, by the way. The leaves and the roots and twigs, I gather them, I wash them, and then I put them out in the sun to dry for a couple of days, and it's making into a tea. Now, it tastes just like tea. I brew it, but I forgot to bring it. So sorry, this is what happened when you get older. So it tastes like tea, And the tea is actually very good for you because it contains a chemical called berberine. That's why the family is Berberades. So berberine, which is the chemical that comes from this family, it helps with your diabetes, lower your blood sugar. Okay, this is why I drink this, because I have diabetes in my family. It lowers your blood sugar. And yes, there are studies have been done, a clinical study have been done with this particular chemical and this plant extract. So lower your blood sugar is also lower your triglyceride, which is your blood cholesterol. Okay, and so if you have cholesterol or diabetes issue, this would be a good plant, to kind of look at. Okay, and I drink 2 cups of tea, 1 in the morning and 1 at night, because there's a half-life for that particular compound, the berberine. So that's what I do. Yes. I don't know what the fresh leaf tastes like. Okay, so so normally with tea, you dry it, and then I keep it, it lasts for a long time in the thing. And I forgot to tell you, when you brew tea, brew it for about, if you're going to do it on the stovetop, do it for about an hour to an hour and a half, because you want to get all of it. And you know what? The leaf doesn't break out. It's hard, and it still punch you. Yeah. Or the other thing what I do now is I just put it into the Instant Pot and get soup. Yeah. And, and it brew, and then it come out 30 minutes later. So anyway, that's what I do with this tea. And again, I'm going to say one more time, the leaf does not break down. So when you take it out, be careful, because those pieces, if it goes in your tea and you drink it, that will hurt. Okay. And so it's still hard. Okay. So I agree. Any question about that? So see, and then there's other medicinal thing I forgot. So in the olden day, and then also actually research have been done also about this, but it is also antimicrobial. Okay. And so when it's actually have proved, they have done study, and it's kind of helped with staph infection. Okay. And so in the olden day, what happened is when you have wounds, the cowboys or, back then, or the settler, they would actually brew this and then put it on their wound, and it helped it because it's have that antimicrobial property. Okay. So if we were a survivalist, this would be good to have. This is what I tell people to plan this. Right? Oops. Oh, buffalo gourd. Ha! You guys think we can eat it? Yes, we can, because it is in the same family. It's a squash. So it's in the same family with, and very close with, our squash, cucumber, zucchini, all of those. Okay. So the flower, treat it like a zucchini flower. You pick it, and then you stuff, you pull the pistillets and all that out, and you stuff it with mascarpone cheese or ricotta cheese, and then you batter it and you fry it like zucchini flour, for example. Okay. And if you don't want to eat the flour, then you can wait until it makes a little, green little, squash, and it's about this big. It's not very big. It's not like our gigantic squash that we grow, right? That's domesticated. This is wild. So anyway, it's green, and it's going to be about this big, and you can eat that just like a regular squash. Okay. And then the third thing. So if you miss that green little beady squash, then let it grow and it become brown. It become brown, and then you can pick it And then you can actually open it up and you roast it. You roast the seed and it tastes just like pumpkin seed. Okay. And so actually, our Native American actually prize this particular plant for the seed because it provides them protein and oil, and it's, good caloric food, for them back then. Not that we need it now, but back then they do. They need calorie back then. So the seed in the gourd is quite prized. Okay. Then the root of this thing could grow up to 150 pounds. Okay. It's like a humongous root. It's full of carbohydrate. What people use them for is actually use it for soap. Okay. It contains saponin, which is a chemical that is like soap. You mash it, you put in water, and you can use it for your soap, your shampoo, just like that. Now, in the Native American actually use saponin or the soap for fishing. They mash it and they put it into the stream, and the fish doesn't know what to do with it. They get stung and then they float up, and that's how they fish back then. So just something for you guys to know. But anyway, buffalo gourd. See, everybody looked at that. They want to cut that down. So now you're looking at things a little bit differently, aren't you? When I did this presentation, this particular plant was everywhere. I haven't looked lately, but out in Rock Spring, they're still there, but the flowers not as much. But so anyway, this is wood sorrel. Okay. You guys should know sorrel versus clover. Sort of similar, but not really, because the leaf shape's a little bit different and the flowers are totally different, right? So anyway, the name is Oxalis, right? Oxalis is actually a chemical, and it means literally sour. Okay, so if you've ever eaten this plant, whether it's the flowers, the leaves, or the fruit, it's sour. Right? The fruit particularly tastes like star fruit. If you guys ever eaten star fruit, yeah. So it is, and it looked like a little okra, about this big. You just have to notice, as you're walking along. Okay. But anyway, so that's what it is. It's sour. You can eat the leaves. You can eat the flower, but eat it sparingly, because oxalate, which is the chemical, it actually interferes with the absorptions of calcium. Okay. And so if you have an issue with that, like gout and, some of the other calcium deficient disease, don't eat this particular plant. Okay. But if you don't have, or you can eat it, but then you have to, do additional calcium into your diet or something like that. But I would use it as an accent in your salad. It's beautiful. So anyway, I just include it because it was, abundant, 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure right now up here. Yeah.
So you can eat the leaves even when it's not flower.
Yes, you can eat the leaves, you can eat the flower, you can eat the fruit.
You still got a lot of the leaves around.
Yeah, you can pick the leaves right now. And matter of fact, there should be some fruit right now, because about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that's when it's flowered. So hopefully there's some fruit out there right now, and you won't notice because it's green.
Oh, the fruit is green.
Yeah,
but it's just like a little round berry or something.
It's like a little okra. It looked like it's just like a little okra. It's like tiny though. It's about this big. So you wouldn't see it unless you actually look for it, because it's green. It blends right in. Yeah. Okay. Greenbrier. Oh, I know a lot of you guys hate Greenbrier, but if you notice out in the wild, You rarely see Greenbrier growing with leaves or anything. All you see is a little stick with, a lot of spike on it. Okay. It's because it's one of those superfoods that nature's giving you. So the young shoots, you picked it in the spring. It's like asparagus. You saute it in olive oil and garlic. Okay. And then when you get through that, the young leaf actually have as much iron and vitamin as spinach. So you can eat the leaf. When the leaf get a little bit tougher, like harder, yeah, I wouldn't eat that. I'm talking about the young, like when it leaves. Okay. The roots, they're tubers. They're big tubers. So if you just cut them above ground, doesn't matter. They'll come back because it's a tuber. So it'll come right back. And the tuber is actually, if you dig it up, you could roast it. You can treat it just like a potato. Okay. Have you guys ever had cassava or yucca or any of that? It's like that. Okay. It's very much a carbohydrate storehouse. Okay. And so you can roast it, boil it. You're doubtful, but it's actually very good. So the deer know because you never find them, and the leaves and everything's are gone. Yeah.
Did you eat the berries?
I actually have never eaten the berry, but I have read that you can. But I have never eaten, so I that's why I didn't list it up here for you. I'll list things that I've actually eaten. Yeah. Did you have a question? Okay. So anyway, I know it's an ugly, ugly plant, but okay. So hackberry. Hackberry used to be in the elm family, but they moved it to the cannabis family. I don't know why, and I think it's probably something with their gene. But now it's in the same family as hemp and marijuana. Okay. Well, when they look at all of the genetic stuff and they'll reclassify stuff all the time right now. So hackberry, I know people don't like this. They think it's a junk tree. I love hackberry. Love hackberry. Okay. Hackberry berry, which is not a berry, is a drupe. You guys know what a drupe is? Okay. A drupe is a peach is a drupe. Basically, it's had a pit in the middle with the flesh around it. That's a drupe. Okay. So hackberry is a drupe. It's not a berry. I mean, I don't know why they call it hackberry. I guess back then they see it little and they call it a berry. But it's actually like a peach or like a nectarine. It's got seeds and then flesh around it. But anyway, it's so nutritious. I love this plant. What I do is when I pick them, because they're quite small, I put them and I ground them up, to make like a paste. Okay. And then you can actually make it into a little ball. And that's my power bar that I go hiking with. I don't even pack other.
You keep the stone out of it?
No, because that's give you the protein. It's actually have great protein. So you eat the whole thing. It gives you carb and protein at the same time. Okay. So hackberry has been found in the grave of Peking man. I mean, throughout history of modern man, people have been eating hackberry. It's only when us today that we don't eat hackberry as a food. Okay. Because it's very new. Again, like I said, carb and protein at the same time.
When does the drupe come out?
It's actually on the tree right now. Yeah. Almost right. It's kind of red right now. So probably at the end of, when I say this month is over. I mean next month. It'll make it into that dark purple. You can try it. You can pick one right now and see how sweet it is for you. But be careful. There is that pit in the middle, so it's hard. Yeah. But anyway, so this has been again. Yeah. Tastes like a date. Yeah, it tastes like date. Yeah, it's really good. It's very sweet.
What you're calling hackberry, what we call sugarberry around here?
Yes, so there's sugarberry is Celtis reticulata, and then this is hackberry. This is netleaf hackberry, which is Celtis. It's a two different. Yeah. So okay, and then there's a third kind that it's also native. That's sort of close to us, but not really. If you go past Junction a little bit, you'll get into desert hackberry, which is a little bush. If you guys go out to Big Bend in November and you go hiking, if you ever do hiking down, and you will see a bush with like a bunch of orange-looking berry on it, that would be the desert hackberry. And when I go hiking in November and December, that's what I do. I pick the berry along the way. So I don't even pack food. Yeah.
What was the one you said about your Junction?
I said that if you go past Junction, then you start getting into the desert hackberry kind of range.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Passion flower. So right here we have two kinds. We have the purple passion flower and then the black passion flower. That is native. Okay. And passion flower, you guys know this is not your passion fruit, right? This is okay. So passion flower. However, this one, people name it maypop. Have you heard of maypop? That would be coming from that purple passion flower. Anyway, you can eat the leaves. Okay, you can stir fry the leaf, just like spinach. And the leaves and the flower, you can dry it and make it tea. Now, there is a caution about this because there's medicinal value, with the passion flower leaves and flower. It actually increase your GABA, which is an amino acid that kind of regulate and actually stimulate your brain to actually help you to relax. Okay. And so when you drink that tea, it will actually help you go to sleep. And so I would not be drinking that tea unless I would like to be relaxed and go to sleep. How's that? Okay. So that's why I said caution, because I would not be drinking this in the morning when you want to wake up. This tea does not have any caffeine. On the opposite side, when at night, this is when I would be drinking the tea. All right. So anyway, let's see what else. And then there's also research have been done with the flower that is actually help right now with anxiety issue. Okay. And so people usually, the medical profession actually kind of take a look at the chemical that's coming from the passion flower specifically to help with anxiety attack. Again, it's all that whole brain relax business. That's why the anxiety attack. And the fruit. Now, right now, if you go out there are fruits on the vine. Okay, they're green. They're about as big as a little key lime. So if you pick it, no good. Wait until they almost drop off the vine before, even like let it drop off the vine before you actually eat it. Okay. Because right now it's actually still really, really green. So, but it's about as big as a key lime right now, if you see these. But I kind of like the flower, so I never. And the other thing about the flower, it's called passion flower, is because in the 1600s, it was named that way after the Passion of Christ. Okay, the flower actually stand for, crowns of thorn, and the leaves is like, the lance, and there's a whole story. This is why it's called passion flower. The monk actually named it that based upon the Passion of Christ. Okay, so prickly ash or toothache tree, as some of you would know it, right? I would love to have one of these. So the toothache tree or prickly ash is not in the ash family. It's actually in the citrus family. The prickly ash is widely distributed, but not abundant. Okay. So it's got a wide range, but there's not a lot of them around. So if you have one, you're lucky, really. I'm trying to find these as much as I can. But so anyway, prickly ash. There is something to say. Well, how you said there is a toothache tree and you chew and it numbs you, sort of tingling. So researcher actually went out and did the study. And sure enough, it actually does have it depressed your anti-inflammatory, so they're doing research on this particular plant for osteoarthritis, actually. Okay. Please don't go out there and strip it. But again, they're not overly abundant. So when you chew it, and again, this is a in the citrus family. So on the leaves, underneath the leaf, you're going to see little oil glands. So that's why it's actually in the citrus family. It's very fragrant. But that's what it is. And then the fruit. So Saffron Peppercorn is actually on the same genus. It's a sibling. Okay. And so the fruit, actually, you can pick it and use it just like Szechuan peppercorn. So,
when you eat the leaf, and you chew on the leaf of it, it's a fresh leaf, your mouth turns numb.
Yeah,
it does numb up. So could you dry it and empty your leaves?
No. So on the leaves, this is one of these where what's edible is the peppercorn. That's why I said I would pickle it. You could eat it fresh or you can dry it. Okay. Whereas the leaf, on the other hand, would be more like an anti-inflammatory, more like a pain, depressing the pain, the toothache. That's why they call it the toothache tree. Yeah. So you chew it fresh.
It sounded citrusy.
Well, it tastes citrusy, actually. Okay.
You'll find those along Ferry.
Yeah.
Down on the go around before you get out into the marsh.
So more that way. Yeah, it's hard to find them this way. I know it's. I want one. These that I took pictures of. These are over at Canyon Lake area. There's a pocket of them over there. So. Yeah. But I haven't found any out here. So. Yes, ma'am.
We have one.
Oh, you have one? See, you're one of the lucky ones. I said,
We did before the drought.
Purslane, pink purslane. I took this picture because this thing appeared everywhere on our property out in Rock Spring. I've never seen them before this year. And they appeared right after the big rain out there. So the seed can be in the ground for up to 40 years, lay dormant until the right condition, and then it pop up. That's what happened. Okay. So this, believe it or not, is your superfood. It's got your vitamin A, vitamin E, all of that, and it is the best source for omega-3 from the plant. Okay? So I wouldn't pick that because it's already got flour on it. Okay? So you pick it before it got flour on it, and you would eat the whole thing. Okay, you can eat it fresh. You can steam it. You can do anything with it, just like a regular vegetable. And it actually also, because of it, some people use it also as a way to treat like sunburns and things. So cosmetic company actually looking at this plant right now for that particular property value. Okay. So, and somebody had asked me whether it's all true for all purslane. I don't know, probably, but I know about this one because this is the one that I eat. So, okay. Any question about that? Oh, yeah. It's not a caution like the wood sorrel. You can eat whatever you want with this one, all you want. Yeah, all you can eat. Okay. Okay. Red mud. Yes, I did make ice cream with it. So red mud. It's a beautiful tree. They make beautiful ice cream, the flower. Make beautiful color. So the flower, you pick it while it's, not quite all the way open and old. You want to pick it when it's just open. Okay. And it's a little sweet. It tastes a little bit like bubble gum, so that's what the red mud flower tastes like. Okay. And then the leaves, you pick it when it's just barely turned green, it goes purple and then it's turned green. That's when you pick it, not wait until the very end, but that's when you pick the leaves. And then the pod. So if you guys seen red bud, the pod go from the tiny little pod until big green and hard pod, like in less than a week. Okay. So you have very, very little time to go out there and pick the pod if you're going to pick the pod. And the pod, you would treat it like snow pea. Okay, just cook it like snow pea. So, and the pod would be purple when you pick it, by the way, purple, like purplish green, but if it get green, then start getting really tough. However, if you wait until the very end, you can actually, in the olden day, Native American would eat the seeds. 25% protein. Okay. And the seed also contain some lanolin acid, okay, which is really good amino acid for you to have. And it's actually help with your preventing your dementia and things like that. So they looked at the property in the seeds and for like neural issues, prevention, the neural issues that you would have. Okay. So the thing is, I have to tell you, I'll be honest, it's a pain to do the seed. I'm sorry. The seeds are really, really tiny, and I just no, not processing it. So I didn't do it. That's why I don't have any pictures up here for you guys, because it's just, sorry, can't do it.
So you take the flower, you just branches?
You can, so like branch like that. Yeah, you just, and then you pick, and wash them. And when you do the ice cream, if you do things like peach ice creams and stuff like that, you either can puree to make it in that color, or you can just do vanilla ice cream and put the flour on top, like the topping.
It's pretty.
Well, I mean, look at the color. If you puree it, it's really pretty too. So, Yes, ma'am. You would roast them. The other thing that some people would roast them and mill it, and then they make it into a flour. Okay. And it's a gluten-free flour. And it's 25% protein, as I said. And so they would make, pie, pie crust, bread, things like that with this. If you, have the energy. Some people actually pay to go and get it milled so they don't have to actually do it themselves. Okay, so twisted leaf yucca. You're like, what? So twisted leaf yucca, okay? This yucca is an endemic species to the Edward Plateau. What I mean by endemic? It means that it only grow here in the Edward Plateau. Okay. So it is in the asparagus family. Okay. So give you a clue on what you should eat. In the spring, when the stalk come out, about this high, you pick it before the deer get to it. And you eat it, it's because it tastes just like a big old asparagus. Okay? Ma'am? Did you have, okay. So, but if you're patient and you can wait until it's flower, you can actually eat the flower. You can eat the flower fresh in salad. You can stuff it and batter it like me, fry it, and then, or if you want to wait a little bit longer, you can eat the fruit. When it baked fruit, the fruit tastes again like date. It's very sweet. If you wait that long, wait for the asparagus, wait for the flour, and then you got the fruit. So anyway, that's the twisted leaf yucca. In the olden day, again, the root also contains saponin, which is that soapy, chemical that I talked about earlier with the buffalo gourd. And so the Native America that live here in the Edward Plateau, they usually use this plant because this plant would be plentiful to be found. They use this plant, to do their fishing. Okay. So this.
One interesting observation, you can set a place for 18 years. The deer never eat the leaves off the twisted yucca. And up until 2 years ago, cows didn't eat it. That's showing
it would be tough to eat the leaf because it's so fibrous. Now I could see that they would eat the stalk, the flower stalk before, but the leaf, yeah. The leaf, what you could do, and what they usually do with the leaf is that they take it and they soak it in water for at least a week. It'll go rotten, and then there's fiber left, and then they use that for a rope and things, basket. Okay, if you guys want to make basket or rope, anyway, you can. That's what, like I said, people go for the usually don't go for the gourd because they prize it for the gourd, the seed. And so they end up digging up this, as their soap source in the olden day. Okay. I think that's my last one.